Okay, today I'm going to show you exactly how to write an amazing self-help book. So the big question is this: how is a tiny percentage of entrepreneurs blow the pack away? What are they doing that we're not? I asked myself that question for 10 years. I was failing forward and getting sick of it. I wanted to build a coaching business, but couldn't make any headway. So I started studying. I realized that the world's most elite marketers, entrepreneurs, and gurus were all using the same 4-step system. I call it the authority factor. On the show, I'm going to prove to you that the authority factor worked for them and it'll work for you. My name is Ken Dunn. Let's get started. Hey friends, welcome back to the show. And listen, this is a topic that I just pray that you pay close attention to this show today. And this show is so special that it's here on the podcast and on YouTube, and I'm going to post it in as many places as I can. In the podcast notes, I'm going to put the link to the YouTube show and vice versa, because I want you to go over this a couple times. First, let's just call a spade a spade. If you're building any type of online business around your experience where you're helping other people, if you're building any type of helping business online, then writing a book for you is a mandatory exercise. It's not something you should think about doing in the future. It's still like it's a 2,000-year-old strategy. It's still the best way in the world to give everybody around you, your ideal clients, your future clients, a chance to get to know you. And you already know that. I'm preaching to the choir here. I get that. But here's the challenge. A book is either going to promote you or it's going to expose you. The reason I want to go over this information with you today, what I'm going to do on the show today, is to show you how a book is structured. A great book is structured. Because if you want to write a book, a self-help book to help other people, then you have to understand the book is not about you. The book is about the help you're going to give other people. And the challenge is, the proof is all around us. The publishing industry publishes all the statistics. Every year, listen carefully to this, every year, just in North America, Canada and the United States, there are over 450,000 self-help books that are published. 450,000 self-help books that are published. And the scariest part is that 90% of those books never sell 100 copies. 90% of those books never sell 100 copies. And it just freaks me out. So I ask people all the time, and if you're here watching this and there's a place where you can write notes below, I want you to tell me why you think that is, that so many books fail. Because I choose to believe that if you're going to take the time to write a book, you want to use that book for your business. You want to use that book to attract clients to you. You want to use that book to give people a chance to get to know you better. You want to use that book to start making money, give it away for free in a funnel and upsell your clients into your future programs. So I also am going to believe that you're not going to intentionally sabotage your writing, your book. But the challenge is, you're not a writer, you're not an author. And you know what the sad part about it is? Most people, listen carefully to this, most people who sit down to write a book to help their business, a self-help book to help other people, they're not even readers. So they don't even have a clear understanding of what should be in a good book. And because I know that 60% of the people who write self-help books, I've surveyed them. I've helped thousands of people to write books, but I've also talked to hundreds of people who write books and they fail. And the very first question I ask them, and it's really hard for some people to admit because they know that they're hurting themselves, I say, how many books do you read? Do you read books on this topic? You know what they say? Not really. So people ask me all the time, how do you make a great book? It's really simple. If you want to become a real bestseller, then you have to write a book. Listen carefully to this. A great best-selling book, the one thing I found in common with all of them is that those books were recommended to other people. In fact, they were recommended by people that didn't even know you. That's the secret. People ask me all the time, what makes a best-selling book? And I say a best-selling book is a book that somebody who doesn't know you will recommend it to somebody who doesn't know you. So step one is it's got to be an amazing book. It's got to be something that people love to read. So what I want to do right now is, I don't want to waste any time today. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to talk through this because I know a lot of people are going to listen to this on the podcast. But I'm going to share my screen right now, and I want to draw out these concepts so you really get them. So I'm going to go here to my handy dandy chalkboard, pull it right up on the screen here so you guys can see it. Let me just move. Hopefully that doesn't affect the positioning of this. Perfect. All right, there we go. All right. So now we got the whiteboard here, the chalkboard all set up. Let me just make sure we got it nice and clean. Great. Okay. So I'm going to draw out some concepts here so you can really get clear on this. And friends, listen, if you want, I can't give you, I'd be here for the next hour drawing this stuff out if I was going to give you the exact framework that you need to use to write a book. I can't give it all to you, but in the notes to the show, there is a link to a workshop that I did especially for you. This workshop is going to lay out everything that I know about writing books, publishing books, selling books, the entire system. Basically, how to take a book from an idea in your head to a book that's producing hundreds of thousands of dollars in revenue for your business and is a true bestseller. There's a workshop. And here's the best part. I've taught well over 1,000 students to write their books in less than 5 hours. And the workshop explains all of that. So definitely click on that link and let's get into this. So remember what I said, a best-selling book is a book where someone, let me just write this out here at the top. Someone who doesn't know you recommends the book to somebody who doesn't know you. Because if you think about that, the only way that somebody is going to recommend a book to somebody else is if they really loved it. So the writing quality has to be amazing. And I know you want to write an amazing book and have incredible content that keeps it going. But if you're not reading books yourself, you're never going to succeed. So step one, read books. So what I want you to do, if you're serious about having an amazing book, go to Amazon right now and search the category of your topic and buy the top 5 books in that category. And believe me, it'll change everything in your life. I'm writing a book right now that is going to help coaches to build their coaching businesses. So what am I doing right now? I'm going back and rereading several books that are written. They're my opinion. In my opinion, this is the top book in the world for anybody building a coaching business. It's called Expert Secrets by Russell Brunson, one of my personal mentors. And several books. I'll tell you another one that I'm going to read if it's here. Yep. It's called Copywriting Secrets. This is the next book I'm going to write, because writing, like any business where you're going to build around coaching and teaching other people, you've got to become really good at email marketing. So there's the best guy in the world at that. So I'm going to read those books over and over again. And I'm not just reading them. I'm reading them with pens and highlighters and highlighting stuff in the book. So you want to read, you've got to. Let me just write that down there over and over again. You've got to do that. But let's talk about structuring. Let's talk about how to lay out a book so that it's going to do really well. The first thing you want to ask yourself, well, it's actually the second thing, because my first piece of advice is actually to read books. But the second piece of advice is asking yourself this question: who is my ideal reader? And you want to get super clear on that, who your ideal reader is. Now, I'll give you a little tip. I want you to think back. If you're writing a book, a self-help book, you're writing a book about something you've already gone through. Now, the challenge is the reason you got the idea in your head about writing a book is you've told your story. So there's a story that you've been through yourself. You've actually been through an experience where you fixed a problem in your life, and now you want to share that problem, that fix with other people. But therein lies the problem, right? Because what happened is, in most cases, is that you've told this story to so many people. Maybe you've already got a coaching business growing. Most of you already do. And people love the story so much that they start telling you should write a book. So the only thing in your mind, because you're not reading books yourself, the only thing in your mind is to literally write the book the way it happened to you, which is chronologically. And it's also wrong. That's not the way you do it. That's the way you write a shitty book. That's the way you die. It's so freaking crazy. So we have to do away with that chronological way, and we have to write the book logically. So we don't write the book based on the way it happened to us. We write the book based on the way we want to walk somebody through it. Like think about this for a second. If you're writing a book like this, if you're building a coaching business, it's because you fixed a problem. And in fixing that problem that you struggled with for years, you realized that if you look back, if you had your time back, there's a faster way you would have done that, right? Think about this for a second. If you have gone through any major change, maybe you've lost weight, maybe you fixed your marriage, maybe you've started some type of business, maybe you've got into gardening and figured out gardening, whatever it is, you should write a book under any topic you want to help other people. But if you just take a second, and here's the major question. So once you know who your reader is, and frankly speaking, friends, your reader is you. So you want to think about, let me just go back to this for a second and keep my thoughts in order here. You want to think about who you were right before you fixed the problem yourself. So you before the problem is fixed. And write that down. If you guys come to that writing workshop that I put in the notes, I'm going to give you an actual guide that will help you to get really clear on who your ideal client is. Now, the second thing, which is my third point on here, this is the debate. It's chronological versus logical. So once you know who you're writing for, the next thing you want to do is ask yourself, okay, what's the journey that I want to take somebody on? Now, the easy way for you to do this, that's where I was getting to before. Most people who are told that they should write a book over and over again, they don't know how to write books. So what they're going to do is they're going to do it. They're going to write the book the way it happened to them. And that's a recipe for disaster. So what you want to do in order to figure out what's the most logical way to do it, here's what you do, is you sit down and you just ask yourself, if I had to do it again, if I had to go through all that pain again, knowing what I know now, how would I do it? If you had to go back, think about this for a second. If you had to go back with all of your experience now and teach a younger version of yourself how to fix that problem, you had the ability to go back in time and say, this is going to happen to you. Here's exactly how you're going to fix it. Are you going to really teach them to fix it the way it happened to you with all the highs and lows and the banging your head against the wall and the years of struggles? No, you're going to show them the fast lane. It's like getting somebody to buy into your coaching business. You don't teach them how to do it the way it happened to you. You're saying to them, look, I've figured it out. I've gone through all the troubles, the trials, the tribulations, and now I've got a better, faster way for you to do this. Well, that's the same rationale you need to do to figure out what your book is. And then, friends, it's really simple. You're going to go back and you're going to say, okay, how do I want to teach them to do this? And you write out that journey. So you know that X is where your reader is starting, the beginning of the book, and you just write out the steps. Okay, what's the first step? What's the second step? What's the third step? What's the fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th? The steps become the chapters. On the workshop, I got to wrap this up, but on the workshop, I'm going to go into like a significant amount of detail around this so you can really get it. And all you have to do is click on that link. The workshop is on demand. So when you click on that link, you'll be taken to a page where you can watch the video. You can register to watch it now, but then you can watch it anytime you want. Because I don't want to make this information hard for you to get to. I don't want you to wait and come to a webinar at a certain time because you probably won't be able to make it anyway. So just click on that link below and we'll get this. Okay. Last thing I want to show you today. This is the most important part. I have read thousands and thousands of books. I know I have. They're all over. It's just crazy. And when I look back at all of the great books I've read, I realized something. And I've been teaching it ever since. These chapters, great books, have 3 elements in each chapter. Now, we're talking about self-help books here. I'm not talking about fiction books or anything, but if you're trying to write a book to build a business, you want to make sure that your book has all 3 elements in each chapter. And I'll tell you what those elements are. First, it's the teaching. That goes without saying. Every chapter, you should literally teach the next step in the journey. Unfortunately, that's where most people screw up. That's all they know. But there's 2 more parts. The next part is the stories. You've got to have lots of great stories to illustrate your points. Why? It's really simple. Facts tell and stories sell. You've heard that before. But let me tell you the mistake people make. Because they don't know any better, because they're not reading, because they're not collecting data and facts themselves, all the stories are about them. And friends, people don't care about you. Well, they do. They're buying your book. They want you as an expert, but an expert knows their subject matter so well that they can use other people's stories or other situational stories that illustrate and prove the point. And the third part of every chapter is the proof. If you go back now and if you take my advice and you go to Amazon and you buy like a really great book that's already written in your field, you're going to notice every chapter has teaching, stories, and proof in it. Now, proof can be. So let me give you a couple examples of proof, because this is the one people get stuck on. First is your students. If you already have a coaching business and you're already helping people, then put their stories in the book, because that's proof. The student success stories. So you can see, I say stories plural because each chapter in a book can have multiple stories, and it normally does have multiple stories, and at least one of them can also be the proof. But proof shouldn't just be stories. It can be articles, quoting other articles. It can be other books. The most good self-help books, the authors are quoting other books that they learned in so they can help their readers learn more. And by doing that, by having proof, here's what happens. The student or the reader who's reading your book knows that you're a real expert because you're confident. If you're adding other people's stories, if you're giving credit to other people, every book I write on this topic in the future, I'm going to be talking about Russell Brunson right in the book. And I'm going to be helping people to know who he is and what he's accomplished in his life. Why? Because he has been so important in my journey. But sure, Russell sells some of the same programs I do, and I got some of my ideas for some of my programs from him. I'm not worried about that because I'm confident. I want to truly help people. That's the way you need to think about this too. You've got to be confident. And if you write really good proof articles on your subject, quoting other authors, if you write the stories of other authors, you write the stories of your students, then your reader is going to see you as more credible. And friends, that's how you lay out a book. If you follow this format, you're going to get it. You really are. But I'm going to take you right back to where we started in this session. Read. If you're not reading books yourself, start reading books, because it'll change. Now, listen, writing a great book is only the first part. You have to launch it properly. You have to sell it properly. You have to make sure it gets published the right way. And all of that information is stuff that I go over in the workshop. So make sure that you click the link in the notes below and watch that workshop. Hey friends, it's Ken. Thanks for being here with me today. Listen, if you enjoyed the show, make sure you follow it. You know what? Like, I'm going to promise to give you amazing content all the time. You just have to hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button, put my content in your life, and I guarantee you, you're going to save yourself a lot of time and trouble. Hey, and on that topic, if you're following me, you're a coach, a consultant, you're somebody that wants to build an online business, helping other people accomplish something you've already done. And I want to give you the fast track. I've been studying the art of building an online coaching business for 20 years, and I've invested millions of dollars with some of the biggest coaches in the world. And you know what I found? They were all following the exact same system. It's a framework that I call the authority factor. It's a 4-step system that I want to share with you. And if you follow this system, I can't even begin to tell you what the future has in store for you. But I can promise you this one thing: you're going to get paid helping others. So go to authorityfactor.info. I put the information in the notes below. It's an amazing online live workshop that I'm doing right now. And I'm going to show you exactly how to build a coaching business the fastest way possible, with the most revenue, and avoiding the most mistakes.